And today I've got a rehousing of my big Nhandu Tripepii. Her name is Zutton, and I think you're going to enjoy this one. It's really cool. Check her out.
Alright everybody, as you can see, we're making an enclosure for the Nhandu Tripepii, also known as the Brazilian giant blonde tarantula. This is a really cool tarantula coming from Brazil, most of Brazil, and parts of the northern hemisphere of Argentina. So they live in a more subtropical region, so their substrate doesn't need to be quite as moist as you would for, say, a tropical species. This is a terrestrial opportunistic burrower. In other words, they don't have to burrow, but they will if given the opportunity. They have a medium growth rate. Mine is a subadult at the moment. She's not quite fully grown, and it has taken her approximately 2 years to get to this size, so they do take a little bit of time to grow. Their climate is typically between 72 degrees and 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and 65 to 75% humidity. They do get to a size of 7 inches in diagonal leg spans. Obviously the males will be a little bit smaller, but the females definitely will top out at about 7 inches. The cost of this tarantula usually ranges, like if you buy a sling, they usually cost about $40, and then of course the price goes up as the tarantula is getting a little older. So if you want to buy an adult, expect to pay $100 or more. They do have a surprisingly short lifespan for a New World tarantula. They actually only live about 11 to 12 years for females, and males only live up to about 5 to 6 years, which is pretty short. They are, as far as the temperament goes, they are a little skittish, but they're not prone to super defensive behavior. I mean, they will kick hairs and maybe throw a threat posture. You will see here in a little bit later in this video that my Nhandu Tripepii definitely threw a really nice little threat posture for me, but obviously she didn't act on it or anything like that. It was just a defensive measure. They're slow movers when they're just out and about and whatnot, and they're really easy to keep. This is an easy to keep tarantula because they are very hardy, and they can be very forgiving of husbandry mistakes and things like that. As you can see, I'm not really putting a whole lot of moisture in this enclosure and the dirt and whatnot, only because my Nhandu Tripepii seems to prefer a drier substrate. They don't really seem to appreciate moisture quite as much as other subtropical species, so with that being said, you can keep this tarantula pretty much on virtually dry substrate and they will do just fine. Now, as you can see, I'm just adding some foliage here for anchorage points for the Nhandu Tripepii, my beautiful big girl, who we will see in just a moment. And I hope that I have given you a lot of information on this beautiful tarantula, as I absolutely love keeping mine. Now let's see what happens when I try to get her out of her original enclosure and getting her into this new enclosure. As you can see, she's already throwing a threat posture. She did kick hairs at me. She was just very comfortable in her old enclosure. She's laid out quite a bit of web mat. Obviously, they're not big, heavy webbers, but they do definitely web up the ground, so they lay down that web mat, and it's fascinating to watch. They will burrow if given the opportunity, so plenty of substrate and anchor points and stuff. They will burrow a little bit. I also included a piece of her cork bark that was in her old enclosure, and I put that in her new enclosure. That way she has a little piece of something that's familiar, and she's already webbed up and whatnot, so it's not quite as scary in her new enclosure, if you will. But as you can see, she was pretty cooperative. She's not super defensive or aggressive. I was able to put her in her new enclosure pretty easily. But I love this tarantula. They're big and fluffy. and under the right light they have that pink hue to their beautiful setae. Now, Nandus are known for having very, very itchy setae and those urticating hairs, so please be careful when you are rehousing your Nhandu Tripepii because it is not a fun experience getting hairs kicked. Check this gorgeous girl out. Now here you can really see those pink hues and the tan and the pinks, and she is just absolutely stunning. This is one of my favorite display tarantulas just for that reason, because she is large, she's got those pretty pinks, and she's fluffy.
Alright, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I, of course, am Leah, and I am thanking you today for watching my video. I hope it was very informative for everybody, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned a few things about the Nhandu Tripepii, also known as the Brazilian blonde giant tarantula. I think my girl is absolutely stunning. Thanks for watching. See you next time.